In the last modules, we had talked about operating systems, but we had not studied about them. However, we had known about the hardware and its functioning. So let us get to know about operating systems in a little bit more detail. What exactly are operating systems, and what are we going to learn basically? We would be knowing that what is an operating system by definition, its functions and fundamentals, and uses and implementations. But before we study what is an operating system, let us see an example. You see in the picture, and just try to imagine what exactly is the message being given through the picture. The picture basically shows a seed which is trying to grow in the soil through its roots. The seed is sowed in the soil, and once it gets all the nourishment, it grows and becomes a part of the atmosphere or the environment. Now, this seed needs soil as an interface, or in simple words, a medium in order to grow. Similarly, an operating system acts as an interface between application programs, system programs, and hardware. Too many complex terms are there, so let us just simplify them bit by bit. First of all, let us get to know what is an interface. An interface acts as a medium or a link to allow communication. System programs are basically simple programs which work in the background when your computer is on in order to do tasks such as combine your results, that is compiler, check for errors, that is debugger, and generate results, that is output. Application programs are the ones through which you work. Web browsers like Mozilla Firefox or a PowerPoint software like Microsoft Office PowerPoint, etc. are some examples. Let us get to know first, before we go ahead, we heard about some terms like compiler, debugger, and output. You are by now aware about the term output, that means a generation of result, final compiled result. Let's talk about the compiler. Basically, whenever we are working on the computer and it involves some type of activity of typing or coding or programming, something which involves an input, it needs to be combined together as a single unit in order to produce the output. That combination is done by a program which is called as a compiler. On the other hand, in order to check whether there are any kind of errors, any kind of mistakes which you might have committed, this is done by debugger. Let's move ahead now to operating system by definition. Again, it acts as an interface between the hardware of the computer and the user. The user can be you or any other computer which is using that particular operating system. This is done through application programs with the help of system programs. Let's again break down application programs into smaller units. Now you're seeing over here, we see certain terms like banking system, airline reservation, web browser, etc. For application programs, for example, if at any point in your life, if you have used a phone, a smartphone or a laptop or a computer, you use your mouse and your keyboard to go to a website. When you do so, you open a web page, you open Google, you open Mozilla, or you use any other browser. These are web browsers which help you to connect to the internet so that you can work online. Banking systems allow you to work on banking softwares and also connect to the internet so that you can make your transactions. Airline reservations, on the other hand, help you to reserve your seats or your documentations using services provided by airline companies. For example, if you want to book a ticket or you want to open an account, you use airline reservation or banking system respectively. Coming to compilers, we already talked about them. These are the programs which help you to compile whatever you have used or whatever you have typed or whatever inputs you have given to the program. These help you to compile them and to go ahead and bring them together as a single unit. Editors help to check for any kind of errors, any kind of mistakes which you have made, or debuggers are a part of them. Command interpreter and operating system, they combine together to make system programs. That means these are inbuilt systems which are going to work whether or not you are working on them or you are not. Command interpreter and operating system, editors and compilers combine together and make system programs. These programs have already been built inside your computing device to help you work. You do not develop them or you do not make them. These are already preloaded in your computer in order for you to operate the system. For hardware, because as an operating system, I am the user, I want to use a web browser, I want to book my ticket online. And system program like an operating system will help me do so. And if I want to take a printout, or if I want the computer to understand it in its own language, the hardware comes into picture. I'm so sure you people remember that we talked about processors, printers, and microchips, chipsets, etc., which made up the hardware of the computer. So in all, to sum up again, application programs are the ones which we use, and through the operating system, we can talk to the computer. Let us see the diagram which was given and just get to know that interfacing between the user and the hardware and how it happens. You have various application programs. Again, you have a word processor which helps you make Word documents. You want to email something to somebody, you use an email application. You want to use your internet, you go to Google, etc., and you use web browsing applications. You want your computer to be safe and secure. You want an antivirus application. All these applications need to be connected to the CPU to interact with it, to give it commands, and to ensure that this is what I, as a user, wants, and giving a command to the computer. So through the operating system, these small applications will talk and take commands and take the results and give you the feedback.